Hey, we're at Montreal Comiccon with Raphael Sbarge from Once Upon a Time. First question I got to ask you, and I mean, what is it like working with Giancarlo Esposito?
Giancarlo is great. He's great.
How cool is that?
Yeah, he's a totally great guy. It's funny because Giancarlo and I know each other back from being in New York together when we were kids.
Okay.
And we all were kind of tooling around together at the same time. I mean, Giancarlo's amazing. He's an amazing actor.
Well, because I remember him from Do the Right Thing is Bugging Out.
Right.
I mean, that was such an incredible movie.
No, he's done so much amazing work, and he's just a wonderful guy. And obviously Breaking Bad, and everything. I mean, he's done a million things.
Once Upon a Time, such a popular show, but it's such an original twist on age-old fairy tales. What's it like to be attached to something like that and working in something like that that's so successful?
Yeah, I mean, it's someone was just asking me, when I first read the pilot, I thought, this is great.
Right.
This is great, but it'll never work because it's way too ambitious.
Yeah.
And then they screened it for the cast, and we all sat there and kind of were sort of like slack-jawed and amazed at what they had actually sort of accomplished. It sort of exceeded our expectations enormously. What's happened since, and this is a combination of about three things. Number one is just that they've been able to maintain such wonderful stories. Number two, obviously, the ability to sort of people to find it. That is, in this case, by going on Netflix and be able to sort of binge it or find it or discover it. And then obviously social media. It's just become sort of a mushroom cloud of a show. It's just an enormous show. And obviously in a world now with so much wonderful television and so much to sort of choose from, it seems to sort of only just keep growing, which has been incredible. I've worked a lot for many years as an actor in many different things, and certainly being part of Once Upon a Time is sort of one of the more special ones for sure.
It's funny because I've talked to Michael Rooker of what it was like to make the transition from Walking Dead to Guardians of the Galaxy, and he told me, he goes, I feel like I've died and gone to Marvel heaven. I guess when you're associated with a show like Once Upon a Time that's got such a following, and the fan base for Once Upon a Time is really strong.
Yeah.
It's got to feel like that in a way, like, I've got work set up. I mean, as an actor, just as a working actor, it's got to feel good to know you got work set up. You're part of something that's successful, and they haven't killed you off yet.
Yeah, I mean, the wonderful thing about Once Upon a Time is that there's such a remarkable fan base of from age 8 to 80.
Yeah.
The thing that people tell me all the time, how they watch it with their families, how it's the one show that they can all sort of really all sit down together. And in a world that's so fractionalized, with everyone sort of watching something on their various devices, to have something like that they can all connect to is really great. Jiminy Cricket is a fantastically iconic character of conscience, and so I felt a little daunted and overwhelmed by sort of having to step into that, not wanting to disappoint people, but the stories they've written for him, that is certainly his backstory even, was so wonderful and sad and sort of inventive, that I the writing kind of took care of itself, and I felt in really good hands.
So tell us about some of the other stuff you're doing besides Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, so I'm on a new show called Murder in the First. Show, and then it's the second season of the new show. It's a Stephen Bochco show. Yeah. TNT, and it's got a wonderful cast: Kathleen Robertson, wonderful Canadian, as well as AJ Buckley and Curry Graham, other Canadians, but Taye Diggs. Yeah. And it's one case over the whole season.
And you got a comic book?
And then I'm in a comic book called Lantern City, which is a steampunk comic book.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it just launched through Boom Comics, and it's broken records, sales records, and there's a TV show attached to it that we're also working on, and that's a little bit farther down the line, but there's an RPG game that's being developed, and they've got an enormous fan base, obviously, in the steampunk audience, who are looking for a venue, and in this case, sort of a vehicle to kind of really corral all the wonderful sort of steampunk fans around the world. So it's called Lantern City. You can find it in comic books. I'm a character in it, so it's fun to be in a comic book.
Very busy Raphael Sbarge backstage at Montreal Comiccon.